Welcome to this week's assembly. Could I ask the teachers to pause the recording briefly and just make sure everyone's got a piece of paper and a pencil, because we need that later on in the assembly. Okay, when you know it's been snowing all night, who rushes to the bedroom window first thing when you get up, open the curtains and have a look at the snow outside? I love looking at that white world, it's amazing. What about when it's been raining for days, you wake up and you know the sun's shining because you can see the light through the window? Who then goes to the window, opens the curtain and has a look? It's great to see the blue sky, to feel the sun on your face, but to see the flowers and plants out in your garden. What about Christmas morning? When you open your eyes and you see your presents in your stocking or in a sack or on the floor, how do you feel? It's great to see. We're thinking about our eyes today and how amazing it is to see. I would like to show you a little trick with your eyes to let your eyes make a hole appear in your hand and then to make your hand disappear. You'll need to get your piece of paper and roll it up to make it into a telescope, because you're going to look through that in a second. So get your telescope, and then when you've got that, hold it in one hand, keep both of your eyes open, put the telescope to one eye and look through it, but keep so both eyes are open. Then get your hand, the other hand, turn it around towards you, and you're going to bring it in slowly just this side of the telescope. Okay, bring it in slowly like I'm doing, and a hole should appear in your hand. When you've got the hole in your hand, close the eye that isn't looking through the telescope. Did your hand disappear? Let's try it again. Roll it up, put it to the eye, keep both eyes open, get your hand, bring it in slowly till you can see a hole in your hand, and then close the other eye. Did the hand disappear? Your eyes are amazing things. We have two eyes and it takes both of them to form a proper picture. Our brain explains what our eyes are seeing and helps us to understand what we're seeing. Your eyes can see over 10 million different shades of colour. It's incredible. And they can focus on 50 objects per second. There's little muscles behind your eyes that are very powerful. They keep on working and they don't need to rest. Even your eyelashes and your eyebrows are used to protect your eyes. The eye is amazingly complex. Some of us have our eyes that are not perfect, so some of us have to wear glasses. I do sometimes. Or contact lenses. Some people can't see at all. My uncle is losing his eyesight. There's nothing the doctors can do. He can't, if I go into his house, he can't actually see me. He doesn't know it's me until I speak. If he goes for a walk, which he does, someone goes with him to keep him safe, he can't see trees or hedges, just vague shapes. It's quite sad, really. Can you imagine if all you could see was nothing? I'd like you all now, just for a minute, to close your eyes and sit still. Close your eyes, keep them closed. What can you hear? Keep your eyes closed, listen. What can you hear? Can you smell anything? Keep your eyes closed. What can you feel? Keep them closed. What can you hear, smell, feel? Okay, open your eyes. Now I'd like you to get your piece of paper, the telescope, a flat piece of paper, put it on your desk and get a pencil. Now I'll close your eyes again and I'd like you to draw on that piece of paper without looking a house, just a simple house, a line drawing. When you've drawn the house with your eyes closed, draw a person outside the house. Just a stick person would do. Not detailed, just simple. When you've drawn that, draw a flower the other side of the person. Okay. Open your eyes, have a look at your picture. I wonder what it looks like. Was it difficult to draw without being able to see? How challenging would it be if you couldn't see? Think about, how would you find your favourite toy? You couldn't watch your favourite cartoon on telly or programme. What about eating? It'd be difficult to eat, wouldn't it? What about going to school, getting around everything without bumping into people and things? Very, very difficult for blind people. This is a story about a man who was blind. One day, Jesus and his disciples were walking along when they saw a man who had been blind from birth. He'd never been able to see. And the disciples asked Jesus a strange question. They said, Jesus, who's done wrong, that man or his parents? Now that would seem to us a strange question, but in those days people believed that if you were bad and you'd done wrong things, God would punish you and give you some sort of illness. So leprosy, blindness, deafness, if you couldn't walk, they would say you've done something wrong. But Jesus said, no, that's not true. It's not right thinking. No one had done wrong. This man is like that so that God's power can be shown in him. Then Jesus did something else strange. He bent down, he spat in the dust. With his saliva in the dust, he made mud. And then he put the mud on the man's eyelids and said to him, go and wash in the pool of Siloam. Off the man went. He washed in the pool of Siloam, and when he washed the mud off his eyelids and opened them, he could see. How fantastic that must have been for him. Imagine what it would be like to see. You could always write a story about that. Imagine you were blind and then you could see. I think it would have been fantastic for that man. How do you think he felt? How do you think other people felt? If I'd have been there, I'd have thought that was fantastic. Somebody being healed of blindness. And I'd have wanted to say to the man, what's it like? How do you feel? I think it'd be great. But do you know what? Not everyone felt like that. Some people were angry that the man was healed. Some people said, oh, it's not the blind man, it's just somebody that looks like him. They couldn't believe it and wouldn't believe it. Now, the Pharisees were angry because Jesus broke one of their laws, or two of their laws, because when he made mud, he spat and rubbed soil, made mud, technically he was working. And he was working, they said, when he healed someone on the Sabbath day. But Jesus was saying and showing that God doing good to people was more important than following their rules. Do you know what? The Pharisees interviewed the man and his parents, and they were really nasty to him. They insulted him, said unkind things to him, and they also banned him from the synagogue, which was the Jewish church, the place of worship. So he couldn't go and worship God with his friends. He couldn't see his friends at the synagogue. Do you think he was upset about that? He might have been, but he was more pleased that he could see for the first time in his life. That's another example of Jesus healing someone, doing a miracle. And one of the things that teaches us, as well as God's love and Jesus revealing his power of healing, is that the Pharisees were so suspicious and angry that they missed this amazing miracle. In a way, they closed their eyes. They couldn't see what was in front of them. They couldn't see the needs of others around them. They were more important. They felt it was more important to follow their rules, to think about themselves. Nothing was wrong with them, but they failed to see the needs of others. Let's not be like the Pharisees. Let's use our eyes, our physical eyes, but those eyes in our heart where we see and feel the needs of other people. Jesus said that people sometimes didn't see clearly. He didn't mean they couldn't see with their eyes, but he meant that they couldn't really see with their hearts. They didn't realise who he was, and they missed him. They missed his miracles and the amazing things he did. And so the challenge for us is to keep our physical eyes open and our eyes in our hearts so that we can look at others and try to help them when they're in need. If we're too bothered about ourselves, thinking only about ourselves, we can miss other people. So let's look around, see the amazing creation, and let's look around, take notice of other people, and when they're in need, try to help them. I'd like to finish by saying a little prayer asking God to help us do this. If you agree with the prayer and want to make it your prayer, then please say Amen at the end. Dear God, thank you for your miraculous work. Thank you for the amazing things in the world that we can see. Thank you for our lives that we can live in this wonderful planet. Help us to look after it. Thank you for the true stories of the Bible that we're learning about. And I pray that you'd help me to open my eyes so that I can care for and help those around me. Amen. Great to see you. Hope to see you soon. God bless. Have a great weekend. Bye.